Okay, here we are at Lobositz. It's 7:40 a.m. turn. First activation of the turn. One of the big Prussian cav commands. KA, whoever he is. Charged in to the Austrian cav, and largely it was repulsed. We see there was some success, but with one unit routing back here. Okay, here we're seeing some cav moving forward to start charging some Austrian cav. No big deal there. Every hex it moves, one of these artillery units gets to op-fire it. Not that there's much of a chance of hitting, mind you. They need 100 to hit, and they have a 10% chance of causing a disorder check, which probably will not succeed. I've already had one of them. Every hex, until it hits charge range, which it just did, but I gotta roll one more. Got a special result of 6. You go find the special results table, page through that. 6 accurate fire. That means I re-roll. And if I get a hit, I can pick which unit in this one unit stack that I actually hit. Oh look, I didn't hit. This is, you know, the kind of thing that's endemic through this game. That may be one of the worst situations. But it's just filled with all these little, roll the dice, roll them again, roll them again, roll them again. Look, my wrist has a certain lifetime in it. And this game is going to take a year off that. Okay, well, I guess I'm done with the 7 a.m. turn. It goes to 8 a.m. The fog goes up. It went up once due to a special initiative event. I haven't flipped the counters, made my morale checks, stuff like that. I'll do that. But we're seeing the Prussians assembling a line in preparation of attack. This cavalry duel is still going on, and it's still a complete mess, and almost impossible to discern what's going on there. Prussian artillery is coming up. Not sure what I can do with it. The Grenadiers are kind of getting closer. They haven't had much effect. They're hoping that they'll be able to engage more here. Basically, they're almost invulnerable in those vineyards, so shooting is no problem, but they could end up getting close combat at here now. Over here on the off-board side, Austrians are moving some forces around. I'm more and more reluctant to bring them in yet, even though it would clearly be helpful. Mainly because I'm just not sure I can hold Valhalla. Kind of no matter what. It's a matter of, well, let's see what happens. I've got a nice line forming here, but the command stretching the line out to Valhalla seems really, really risky. Alright, I'll take care of the cleanup, and God, I don't know why I'm doing this. Okay, so the Prussians got essentially a wing move by their initiative level, so they moved their infantry wing up, charging forward. They had to take some artillery fire. They're going to have to take more as they get closer. These are howitzers and can shoot over the skirmishers up there without a problem. And these guys had an unobstructed line, well. But as the infantry gets closer, it's going to actually conceivably take some losses for that. Every hex of movement I have to roll to see if I got shot. Really annoying. I mean, this is so much worse than anything else I've seen in terms of fiddliness. Did an initial fire over here with the musketeers that I've deployed to face the skirmishers. Now, they actually got pretty good results. They caused 2 casualties, shaking 1. They got to decide whether or not they want to try to close combat. And obviously I was wrong about the skirmishers being invulnerable. They were at 2 hexes, but they were pretty ineffective there. I moved them forward hoping to maybe have more of an effect, but now they're at 1 hex, and I'm rolling in some cases because of the size of those spread out units on the 1-to-1 table. which can really do some losses even with the -10 on it. You need to get kind of lucky, but the Prussians did. They also got a special result here, free fire. The unit was disordered, but first it gets 2 free rolls instead of just 1. It did nothing in them. Kind of was hoping to kill the leader. Speaking of leaders, we got something to talk about there. Over here, though, I've got to make the decision whether or not to close combat. If I close combat, the skirmishers are almost guaranteed to withdraw. But then at least I get to move into somewhat more defensible terrain. So I think I'll do it. Because I can't see the skirmishers holding up and trying to fight the line infantry under these conditions. I'll look at it and try to figure. But we were talking about the leaders. So there's a replacement leader here. And his symbol's P. Unfortunately, he's the replacement leader for the KY unit. And this is detailed over on, picked the wrong chart again. That one's not it. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, it's this annoying. Over here on the Prussian roster, Kiao was the original leader, Penavera is his replacement. But there's no indication on the counter, nothing of what he's a replacement for. So I got to try to remember this. Now, again, this is a small battle. It's annoying here, but imagine what it's going to be like in something, the size of La Bataille, Moscow, or something like that. I don't want to touch these guys anymore, I think. Unfortunately, I got a stack of them sitting over here, and I didn't get them real cheap. Brandywine in Germantown, I think I got around 20, but the others, and that's still unpunched. The others I punched, I clipped, I was so excited about this, and I'm very, very disappointed with what I'm seeing. I mean, there's just too many negatives on the mechanics and the components, etc. Beautiful as the map is. And unfortunately, when we look at the Labatt game, the only one I've got, and I'm loath to do anything with this, the map is horrendous. It's still this wonderful textile quality. The components look better. Honestly, I know that they look primitive and ugly to a lot of people, but they look like they'd be playable. I just don't know if it's worth messing with anything of either of these series again for me. Alright, onward I guess. I'm hoping to at least get to some infantry fighting and see how that works out beyond what we've seen here. So here on the chart I'm seeing something that I'm trying to look up to see if I want to make that close combat. But I'm seeing in marshes, for example, -5 to the attacker and defender. Now either I'm missing something here, or that means nothing. Because this is done as a roll-off, and then you subtract the defender from the attacker. If they both have -5, it's no effect. Why is that there? Maybe I'm just clueless. Maybe I'm missing something serious in the rules here. But to me, that's a no effect. Okay. So going here, I'm looking at the Vineyard Hex. I'm looking at a +3 to the defender. Let's take a look at what these units are like. They're not very capable, and they're way under strength. So I'm just going to pull them back. And we'll advance. Looking later, it's going to be a regular slope, I believe, over there. It's so hard to see. These may be extreme. I can't remember. Regular slope, 2220 to 2221. Let's see what that looks like. 2220 to 2221. Yeah. Okay, so that, I think this is more than that. I can't tell. No, this is just a regular slope. Okay, so even if we get the regular slope, we're not looking at a lot more, and we're not looking at a lot more here. So I just don't think that they want to ever face close combat. I'm going to pull them out here because there's no value. But at the very least, the Prussians are getting that defensive terrain now. Of course, they'll be shooting uphill, which has its own penalty. Okay, and here we are moving into the 820 turn. Cav battle, still a mouse. I mean, there are no lines or anything, and that's to be expected. Like we see, the Prussian lines moved up a little bit. They've largely... Oh, I should have moved them. Let me take one more action here. Okay. The Grenzers just could not handle being in that close a range. Not too surprising, actually, but I thought that the vineyards would protect them sufficiently. They had to fall back. I don't see a way of protecting Valholta still. I have enough units for Lobositz. I have some Grenzers, maybe a couple Grenadiers. I can't send this whole command there or I'll lose Lobositz. I've got some infantry back here under Kolorat that I could bring in that could hold the Lobositz line and I could throw up to Valholta, but I shouldn't have waited so long. Now the position I'm in, I'm afraid there's just not time to reposition. What we are seeing, though, is over here on the Lobositz line, some artillery setting up. That should be helpful in creating sort of a zone of hell over here. Yeah, I think a lot is going to be determined by what happens to the Cav. And as long as that's undecided, it's kind of scary to move the Prussian infantry forward. I'm doing it. I want to get this moving. On the other hand, there's all this Prussian artillery, and I do not know what to do with it in an attack fashion. I'm trying to bring it up, it's just so slow. I suppose there's a lot of time I could have delayed, waited till it came up and began my assault then. But as long as the Cav situation is in flux, in some ways I feel it's safe to charge up this way. My flank's protected by all that Cav, and historically Prussia lost their Cav there. I'm going to wrap this one up and send it up. Looks like I'm going to just keep going. I don't know. Maybe not till the end, but we'll see.